Welcome back to Saffas Unscripted, episode 139. We just brought it up. We've been together 11 months, boys. It's been a wild journey, and it's all thanks to you guys. So we just want to say a special thank you and a shout out to all of you guys that have supported us along the way, been in the comment section, liked the videos, engaged with us. That's what the whole community is built on. We're just three fans talking about the game, bringing it to you guys, having you guys have your say, which is absolutely lovely. Now, we don't really have a topic for tonight. We just came on. We said we're just going to chat a bit of ball. We're going to talk about the state of the South African franchises, what we can expect for the rest of the season after they've played a bit. And then also say, listen, end of the year tour is nearby. Who's been the standout players that we can actually maybe see at the end of the year? Brevan, how are we doing, my man?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Joburg has finally been hit by its glorious storms, summer storms. When you get that first one, you know it's summer. It's boiling hot, and the storms are coming in hot, and a lot of them. So yeah, there might be some muting because of lightning or rain, but for the most part, it should be fine for now. So, but otherwise, all good.
Yeah, Brett.
Yeah. I do like that Brevin and I are wearing similar shirts. It's quite cool. See that brand on his chest. Yeah. Very good brand.
Well, I'll get a shirt because you just recruited me to your paddle team.
Yes.
Don't forget about this.
Yes, Cape Town 10s. Yeah, we come. Yeah, like you said, listen to that thunder. Joburg storms have hit, and I'm proudly South African for all the non-South Africans watching.
Yeah. Are we fine to jump into it? Because Brieva needs to leave soon. So we'll just ramble through it all. Okay, because we had a little fiery episode last what was it on Monday, because we were heated. We said, listen, it's unacceptable with some of these performances and stuff. And we just thought, okay, we'll chat about what the future holds for some of these teams. Let's start off with the Stormers, because I think there's a lot of talking points. Obviously, we heard today, Brett, this is obviously your team as well. Salman Murat injured for the rest of the season. Mani Lubbock has just got engaged. Oh, not engaged, married. So he's off on his honeymoon. We won't be seeing him for a while. I don't think we'll see Frans Malherbe for a while. No Dion Fourie, no Steven Kitshoff. Does things get better soon?
We need a Hartzenberg, we need a Jantjies, we need a Dion Fourie, we need a Ivan Ruiz. Stormers injury list preseason it's terrible. 3 games in, and we're missing 8 key players. Can you actually imagine?
Not even a key player, but also such a big part for us last season. Ben Loader, also, we haven't seen him. He was one of those workhorse guys all over the pitch. And it's just like, my question to you, Brett, and then we'll just switch over to Brevan, and you can give us your outside perspective, is like, does it get better for the Stormers? Can you see it getting better? How does it get better? Like, what do we expect for the season?
So lots of these players are close to joining the team. Like Siobela Sinatla, apparently is 90% ready. Travis Ishmael, who's been out for a whole year with a snapped Achilles tendon.
When last have I heard that name?
Yeah.
Brevan has forgot his existence.
I remember he played for the Bulls, and then
then he went to Province.
Yeah.
That was quite cool. We live about 7 Ks from each other. The lightning hits here. That is pretty cool. Okay, anyway, so Travis Ishmael, Hartzenberg, apparently it's not too bad, so he'll be ready by end of October. Dion Fourie looks like he's getting there, so I'm still confident that the Stormers will make the playoffs, but I think only just potentially 8th or 7th.
It'll be like one of those where you sneak in and you already kind of feel like quarterfinals is probably, or round of 16 is probably the max that they'll go to. Not round of 16, sorry, quarterfinals will be. Yeah. Brevan?
Yeah. So, look, I think
Look at the little
Stormers.
cheeky grin on his face, because he knows he's not talking about the Bulls and he's talking about the Stormers, and he can happily talk about us being worse than them. Like, it's an absolute farce. Brevon's
No,
straight
I was
face. This
actually
is
gonna
serious
say,
matters.
you guys are unlucky, but now I'm just gonna say good riddance. No, I'm kidding. It's super unlucky that all the injuries that are there. I mean, as much as like Salman Murat, we don't rate necessarily as a Springbok per se. I think he's still a big part in that team because there's levels that some players just like Salat, and I think he's better at that URC level than test rugby level. And then obviously guys like not having Sasha is a big loss. Not having Herschel Yankees, I think at the moment come back. I'm not too worried about Marnie. Because obviously how long is the honeymoon gonna take? Like it shouldn't take like Marnie will be back and I'm sure that will be a big, big boost for the Stormers. But ultimately, I still expect the Stormers to make playoffs, but I'm agreeing with Brett that it will be tight. Just because it's been a shaky start, and it doesn't get easier, Obviously your home games, like you said, who are they? Munster and
Glasgow.
I mean, those are two tough games, and then obviously
we might end up being 1-5 at the start of the season.
At least you have Sharks and Lions in December at home, which will I think you'll beat the Sharks. It depends. I don't know.
When we don't have our boys and they bring on Ibn Etzebeth and Sia Kulisi,
Yeah, okay. I
returning
don't know.
home,
I'm just trying to be
fired up and
optimistic
ready.
for you guys.
Look on your arm.
Yeah, look.
My question. You know what's conflicting, right? Like I look at the Stormers and I look at that 2022 team and I'm in love with it. Even that 2023 team. I know we lost the final, but we could have gone back to back. And I feel like it's one of the world's wonders how we've ended up in this place, where it's kind of almost the exact same team. But I'm thinking like, what team do we actually beat? I can't. I just don't know. Okay, well, fine. We beat Zebra. Do we beat the Dragons with the way that they're playing? We didn't beat Edinburgh, who got smacked and put 48 points on them in one half. We look. I feel like we will look even worse than the Sharks, and I don't want to use this excuse of injuries and stuff, because if you look on paper, we don't have a bad team. Like, we still got some really good players. Like, Paul de Vet is not a bad 9. You still had Damian Willemse. Dan du Plessis, literally last year, we all called for him to maybe go as a Springbok. Ruan Nel should be hungry, seeing that he's been out for a year, but he was very good before he got injured. Yeah. Leland Zas has been absolutely scintillating. Warwick Galant looks like one of our best players. He looks like the Warwick that actually left the Stormers that left the Stormers. Ruben van Heerden, JD Schikkeling, it's standout performers. Yet as a team, we are not performing as a team. It is shocking. Like, the names should get the job done. I'm not saying these are world beaters, but the same with the Sharks. You have to set standards. You can't just say, okay, we've got injuries, and now we're playing guys that play for the Western Province or anything. These are big names. These are guys that we have spoke about them becoming Springboks. It's ridiculous. I don't know how to fix this. But let's start with not selling our best players, not selling all of our features, because I'm looking at that thing and thinking, how are we getting the ball back? I don't know. Brett, how do we get the ball back?
Yeah, I think that there just needs to be a little bit of chemistry. I think that it's like what you've just mentioned now. You've mentioned a lot of individual brilliant players. I think that De Villiers that we must poach from the under-20 side. He can come fetch for us until Dion Fourie gets back. He's small, but he gets the job done, doesn't miss a tackle. I feel like maybe like in the last game we could have done with the Yuri Matia just to control the game a little bit better. I personally think that he's going to be one of those 27-year-old debutants for the Springboks, Yuri Matia. I think he's like every game he's getting better and more mature. Like he's controlling a game, and we needed a guy like that. So if the Stormers can just get a bit of continuity and a bit of team chemistry, I think we'll be fine. Because what you've just mentioned, that's a whole bunch of potential Springboks that you've just mentioned there.
Yeah, gotta get in some proper props. Like Brock Harris hasn't played bad,
Younger
but yeah,
props.
that's exactly my point. Like Brevin mentioned it in the previous podcast, where it's like Brock Harris didn't play bad. For instance, he's not a bad player, but the guy literally coached the Western Province team a couple of weeks ago. Like he's on the older side. It's time for the young guys to come through. Where are they? Where are they? Where's these Griqua boys that we were talking about? These boys that are made out of metal. They aren't here. So as far as I know, we sold Namakaba, we sold Dianki for all these Griqua contracts. I've not seen a single Griqua. I don't know where they are, but they're not there. Anyway, that's it for the Stormers. Before I just keep on ranting, I love the Stormers, and obviously I want them to do amazingly. We're not going to talk about the Bulls right now, and I want to just flow past the Bulls for now, because Brevan's on a high talking about how bad the Stormers are. I can't give him satisfaction of right after that talking about the Bulls. His 40-minute altitude team. Let's talk about the Lions, because they are an exciting team. I'll give it to Brevan. Brevan, talk about the Lions. How good have they been?
Probably the best.
Have our standards and expectations shifted?
Has to. I think they've been the best South African team so far. I think, considering what they have at their disposal, I just think they've done exceptionally well. Obviously, there's things that can be improved upon, but that's part of rugby, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's a great win against the Dragons. And then, yeah, I'm not too sure their next fixtures are, but I can fully see a Lions making the playoffs. I'm comfortable with the way they're playing, that they are good enough to make the playoffs. So obviously they just need to take that extra step from 9th to 8th now. And I think, well, obviously then they'll definitely have the playoffs, but I think that will show progress. And yeah, I think as long as they stay injury-free for a long time, that's important because of the depth that they have. They don't have a great bunch of depth in that side. So injury-free is a big part in their season, and especially Cade Voliter. That man has to stay fit the whole season. Even though he's out now, I don't know how long for. But when he comes back, they need to look after that guy like he's their franchise, like literally.
Yeah.
So
like he is the golden boy that everyone
literally
thought he was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brett?
I actually, you took the words out of my mouth. I want to see how they do the second half of the season when teams go down like 5 major injuries. Like, can the Lions survive if they have 5 major injuries? Will they be able to sustain this winning run that they have? And I agree with the Cade Voliter thing, because I was a big fan when he was at Western Province, but it felt like he didn't quite fit in. And at the Lions, he fits like a bloody glove. He's making that like, it's beautiful to see. But Jonker is also doing very well. Reinhard Jonker is doing very well. I thought I don't know how he's a professional at one stage, but now I see like he's finally living up to his potential. So the Lions for me I'm very positive for them. Like they my little undercover second team that I want to do well.
But everyone's Brett. Everyone in South Africa supports the Lions.
It's right down the road from us. Like a half an hour's drive. So if the Stormers don't do too well, I'll start wearing jerseys that's the same color as my hair.
Yeah. Thing is, like, are these Lions performances really that surprising? Like, on paper, probably. But if you look at the way that they ended last season, they played a full-strength Glasgow team with 14 men and smoked them. That is the Glasgow team that won the URC.
Yeah. So you want to rub that in as well? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, some teams couldn't beat them at altitude with 15 men, and they had a big lead. The Lions came back with 14 men. Then you look at their performance against Connacht, also again with 14 men, right? Just smoking them. You look at this Lions team, they are a good team. They ended the season so well. They've gone into the Currie Cup kind of with their whole squad and performed brilliantly. Well, should have won the Currie Cup final as well. So we've seen this potential of the Lions for quite some while, and it looks like it's all just clicking together. Now, it doesn't feel necessarily that they have the most depth in the world, but they just look like such a well-run club at the moment. And you look at their guys, unbelievable. So the question is it really that surprising that they are doing this well, or was it just kind of like a matter of time?
Just think about this. Lots of their players played in the Curry Cup and now straight into the URC season. So yes, this first few games, 3 games of the URC, they probably the fittest and most well-rounded team that there is, because they pretty much went from Curry Cup to this, where other teams like Western Province, almost nobody played URC, that played Curry Cup, and same with the Sharks. Like they had they actually did have quite a few as well. So I think it's not as surprising that the Lions is doing well, more than it is surprising that the Sharks aren't doing well.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Like it's the Lions. I think, like, I don't think we're surprised because we know what they're capable of, but I definitely think they're punching above their weight on paper, which is a good thing. I've seen a Lions side that looks so well gelled, which is a good thing, and I mean, to go and score 48 points in the first half against Edinburgh, I mean, that is Edinburgh is not a bad side, as we can see, against Scotland. Like it's obviously that second half wasn't great, but as every team for some reason does, when they have a insane lead, they just tend to calm down, and that's that. But yeah, I think the Lions, after the start to their season, have to tell themselves it's time to start holding ourselves accountable, and it's trying to achieve stuff. And I think a quarterfinal is the minimum for them. It has to be.
Yeah, like you mentioned punching above their weight class. You know who's also doing that? Glasgow. Like I fully believe Glasgow's punching way above their weight. Like, yeah, they've got some good players in terms of Hugh Jones, Tui Pelatu, and then Carl Stein. But the thing is, like, they're not the main team if you think of names on paper. Like, if you look at Edinburgh versus Glasgow, you'd probably say Edinburgh on paper looks like the better team. Yet no one talks about Edinburgh being in the same class as Glasgow, because Glasgow's chemistry is out of this world. I feel like the Lions kind of remind me of the way that Glasgow is doing. Obviously, a lot of credit to Glasgow and to Franco Smith and stuff. But, like, I think it's the most respectful thing to kind of say you're punching above your weight class. You look at who people say will win the URC. No one predicted Glasgow to do it. Like, that is insane, because you have Munster there, you have Leinster, you have the Bulls. I mean, some people would have even said the Stormers were the favourites going into that quarterfinal last year. They were definitely the underdogs going up against Munster. They were definitely the underdogs going up against the Bulls. Like, that's proper punching above your weight class, and I'm getting the same thing from this Lions team. Does anyone want to add anything before we actually go on to the Bulls?
Quickly on Edinburgh, I read also that they are sweating a little bit because they're trying to keep Duan van der Merwe, that might be looking to go elsewhere.
Jurassing, isn't it?
Sorry?
Is it Jurassing?
Yeah, but that's irrelevant to the point that I'm trying to make. They kind of don't have the resources to keep him, considering
that's
what he's
really.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
So they're sweating a
Realistically, as much as like we think that, obviously I'm sure they get paid slightly better than what they would here, in my personal opinion, just because it would be pounds. I don't think those Scottish teams have necessarily the funds to keep up with the Prem, keep up with the Irish teams. Okay, obviously they can keep up with the Welsh. And no, I think Scottish and Welsh teams are just the two in the Northern Hemisphere that kind of like, they are probably easy to lose their players to France, England, etc., just because of how much those other leagues are willing to pay, and as well the Irish teams. So yeah, but I mean, to lose Duan van der Merwe, as much as we think he's not necessarily the player that the Scots think he is, it would still be a big loss because he is a good finisher. So
Yeah,
it would definitely,
he's not a bad player at all. Like
you know, he's
he's a
not
massive
bad, but
part
I
of
just
that.
don't think he's like, you know, that guy that everyone
Yeah, we
thinks
can
he
all
is.
agree that he's not the best in the world as oh shit, as some would hype him up. But like he's a massive part of that Edinburgh team. Like
Yeah,
losing
yeah.
him would be a big deal. Anyway, Brevin, it's your time to gloat. Bulls, as your expectations kind of changed as you've seen this team going. You've kind of lived up to the standards that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, where it's like first game on tour, very good performance, especially just in the first half. Second half dropped off a bit, but I mean there was a lot of things to talk about what happened in that second half. But surely your hopes is a bit up because Osprey's not an easy team to beat at home. Good start.
Yeah, my expectations at the beginning was semi-final minimum. It still is semi-final minimum. I'm not going to change that. I just think if you end up playing like a Leinster, even though we've done it before, if you end up playing a Leinster or one of those teams away in the semi-final, it does tend to get a bit tricky. That's why a home semi will be ideal. I mean, that's why winning these away fixtures are vital. Because as we know, Saffas teams tend to drop their points when they travel. So yeah, it's still a semi-final minimum for me. But if it's a home semi-final, I fully expect us to probably go and win. But
all.
we'll see. But then again, balls and finals in the URC are just like Tottenham and winning trophies. It's probably
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. No Tottenham slander. None of it allowed. Love me a bit of
okay.
Tottenham. Brett.
No, yeah.
So if you think about this, the Bulls have to win the URC at some point. Firstly, they are probably the richest team in the entire URC, and it's not even close.
Do you think so?
Sorry?
The Bulls
Like-
have got money, but I think it's close with the Sharks. I don't think it's that far.
No
apart.
chance.
Are they richer than Leinster?
Patrice Motsepe and what's the name? The other rich guy own the Bulls. They have B behind their net worth, not 100 million. A B. There's big money at the Bulls.
But the Sharks are owned by Jay-Z's whole group. I mean, that's obviously
that's like $70 million.
no ways.
That's what 900 million rand.
Okay,
That's
well,
not-
can we have Etzebeth, please? Please, that would be great.
Okay, but
Cheaper, what? I'm
it's
kidding. Carry on.
still the fact that they have the two of the richest people in South Africa backing them. They have a World Cup winning coach. They have squad depth that most countries don't even have. They feed from Narkobilla, the club there in Pretoria. They have everything set up to be the Leinster of South Africa in the URC. They are supposed to play the final every single year. And
They're performing like the Leinster of South Africa by not winning the trophy.
exactly. That's hence why the comparison. But I think that this year it's definitely the Bulls year. If I've looked now at every single team like Leinster, that second half against Munster was absolutely shocking. It took the Bulls to go down to 13 players to actually look like they are struggling. In the last 20 minutes of that game. That's it. That's their biggest weakness, that they can't play with 13 players on the field. Other than that, they probably look the sharpest, the most well-rounded team. They look confident. They look like they're actually enjoying their rugby. I think that the Bulls, if they don't make the final this year, then your coach or something's not working.
Yeah.
So I saw
Do-
Jake. So I saw Jake come out and say like the Bulls are now more equipped than ever to win the URC. That's a big statement. You can't not win the URC with that statement. Like it's just, which as a Bulls fan, you sit there and you're like, you chop. Now we have to hold you
But you
accountable
also
to
want
this.
that, don't you? You also kind
Of course, you want ambition, but like, damn,
Commentators first.
I just
no, my
know
boys,
that
I
like
love it.
it's all good, but like I still sense that there's something about that team that the players are great. I think the structure's great. Everything's working out at the moment, but there's something about that team that just tells me in a big moment they'll shut down, and I don't like that feeling at the moment. So
I hope not.
I need to see them win some big games this season to convince me otherwise. I just feel like after that final, the trust is like, listen, it's all good you're making the final, but if you can't beat Glasgow, no disrespect to Glasgow, but we should not have lost that final. Like, there's no ways we should have lost that final, and we did. So
Boys, the
that's
thing is, right?
the thing.
I've got a bit of mixed feelings about the Bulls. I'm not taking anything away from them. They've been absolutely brilliant. My point is, they're the only South African team that has been playing their Springboks. If all the other franchises have actually done that, we might be singing a different song when it comes to the Sharks and stuff. So I'm just wondering, Brivan, do you think you beat all the teams that you've beat if you had none of your Springboks playing?
Well, we've played
Willie,
two.
Kainen, Kirtley,
Well, this
Eldrick,
was the
Ronald
first
here.
game with this full Springboks back, like where they came back from the Argentina side, so, the Argentinian game. So, yeah, look, I mean, that's just the depth we have, and I'm grateful for that. Like when we played Edinburgh, there were still Springboks in the side. It was Edinburgh. When did they come back?
Edinburgh was full strength. You had Johan Grobler,
Oh,
you had
yeah, okay.
Gerrit
So the
Steenekamp,
one before, who was the one before? The
Volker
first game of the
Louw.
season?
The first game.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We played someone in the first game. Sorry that I've forgotten who it was. But anyways, my point being, you have like a Johan Grobler, Volker Louw, who have been in the Springbok setup before. So they are classified as Springboks. So you could add that. But yeah, I just think we're blessed with depth. And I still think we probably would have got over the line against Edinburgh. Ospreys is a different story. I don't know if we would have won that game with those Springboks.
The reason that I'm asking this is like obviously we know when the Springboks come back into the squad. We spoke about everyone that the Stormers, for instance, are missing. The team is going to get better. Like if we added our Springboks to that Stormers side and we actually won those games like you'd expect us to win then, and then the Bulls didn't have them, could we see something different? Could we have been singing a totally different song? I don't know. I'm just using this as a total coping mechanism for the Bulls being good and the Stormers being shit. So I'm just trying to stretch a bit.
I think we were lucky that when the Springboks returned, we were still in South Africa at the time, so it's easy to just slot them back in. Whereas you and the Sharks were like in overseas, and you can't necessarily just expect the fellas to fly to Cape Town after the Argentinian game and then say, okay, you're heading to Wales. Like, so yeah, I still expect I'm expecting the Sharks to improve. If they don't, there's a serious problem.
The Sharks. Start off with the Sharks.
Yeah. There's a big issue with the Sharks if they don't improve. Massive. Like,
it's called Plumtree.
Even at the moment, there's a big issue. But now, if you want to make it a nuclear issue, then don't play well. Because then I swear I will get frustrated for you because there's some problems there.
Brett, talk to us about the Sharks. I'm sure you've highly opinionated about the Sharks. It's glorious.
First, last point I want to raise on the Bulls. Last year, they also played their Springboks early, and they had all that build-up and everything. And when the Springbok players left, they lost that two in a row against two easy sides. I hope that doesn't happen to the Bulls again. I think they won by 1 point against Scarlets or something like that last year after the Springboks left, and then they It was something like 2 close games. I can't remember what two, but I hope that doesn't happen to them again this year. Then on the Sharks, I think it's going to be like chalk and cheese when the Springbok players come back this weekend. Because I see Eben and Sia's already in the team, so I think it's going to be complete switch over, and it's going to be, you're not going to recognize the last week's Sharks team to this week's Sharks team.
Who are they playing?
I saw it now. Scarlets, isn't it?
I shall let you know. Keep talking.
Is it confirmed that they will be playing, or are they just back in the
They're playing Glasgow.
Glasgow. Yeah.
Okay, it's a different story than the
I just saw on their training, they were training with the teams. Why wouldn't they just fall in?
So I'm with Brett. Whether they have Leinster in front of them, I don't care. What the team you have at your disposal, you should be winning. Like, non-negotiable. Especially when you're playing at home. I don't care if they're defending champions. You have literally the faces of the Springboks in your team. Not like Kanan Moody or those types of players. You have Eben Etzebeth, Sia Kulisi, Bongia Manambi, Oxenchair. Don't start your nonsense. Like, you should be winning. It's I don't want to hear nothing. Like, honestly.
Yeah, like, fair enough. Fair enough. It'll be disgraceful if they lose on Sia Kulisi, Captain Rugby, Captain South Africa's comeback game. That would be shocking. Shocking. Okay.
No, I do back them to win though. And the Sharks, with their Springboks back, my expectations, semi-final minimum.
They have to. I'm sticking with this standard of them going. I said it the previous episode, Brett. The Sharks have got money. Buy off Franco Smith's house. Let him travel there after he's done coaching. Bring him to the Sharks, and they will win every single trophy. Every single trophy that they possibly can win. I bet they'll be so good they'll win the Challenge Cup and the Champions Cup in one season. Like
Champions Cup, that's bold. That's bold.
I can't see them losing a game if they have a proper coach with modern day rugby style that's good at defense, great in attack, that can utilize that forwards and that back line. With those names, they will not lose a scrum. They won't lose a line out. How do you stop that back line? How?
I feel like they shouldn't have let Sean Everett go that easily. I think they don't necessarily need Franco Smith, but Sean Everett at where's he now? Edinburgh.
Could be.
Yeah.
Coaching Edinburgh, yeah. So I think if they just held on to him and gave him the same trust that they're giving Plumtree, then I think the woes would have been over already, and they would have already been on the up.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
Edinburgh hasn't been great.
I just look at I look at the way they played in that Challenge Cup final, right? And if they can come out like that, there's issues for a lot of teams because that was brutal. Like, that was like men against boys, genuinely. It wasn't even close. So if they can have that attitude, that hunger, and that play style, and they've added, bearing in mind, to that team that we played in the Challenge Cup final, like, honestly, why shouldn't you be playing in the semi-final and possibly even winning it, you know? So, but we need to see what Plumtree's got up his sleeve, because it's now or never. I mean, we keep saying that, but now I truly think it's now or never. Like, anyway, that's my last point on it.
Yeah. I don't wish on people to lose their job or anything, but I just think, like, I just don't see him keeping it. Like, they are postponing literally the inevitable. Like, there's so many better choices, in my opinion.
Yes, but the problem is it's very, very expensive to fire a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you want to be successful, you look at it in football terms. You just gotta do it. Because if you bring the team success, you make that money back. You put bums in seats.
Obviously, but it's just like in business. Like, if you fire somebody, say it costs nothing to fire that person, it's going to be more expensive to now then get another employee in, and then that starts at zero again. Then you have to train that person to be as good as the last one, and then you only start seeing results. It's not going to be you're not going to get a guy in that's going to bring your trophy from set piece, the word go, unless your name is Rassie Erasmus.
No,
there's only one of them.
I fully get this. I fully get that, Brett. But if you look at the way that football teams do it, I'm not saying that he's going to get a trophy in his first season, whoever they bring in or whatever. But at some point, you have to say enough is enough, and you have to cut it off and say, okay, we're starting this experiment over. They've got the tools there. They've got the players there. You get in a coach that can actually work around it. You get more bums into the seat. Obviously, it will cost you money. But the thing is, Brevin, we spoke about it. You don't buy a franchise club. You don't buy a rugby club or a football club or a soccer club, whatever you want to call it, right? You don't buy it as a business to kind of make money, because that's the wrong investment. Like, those things are there to just spend and spend and spend and spend. Like, that's why the Qatar people and the Saudi Arabian people have bought these football clubs, to just spin money into that thing and just keep the machine flowing. Like, that's literally what buying a sports team is there. Is there for.
But think about this. Man United have been doing this now for 10 years, firing and recruiting coaches, and it's getting worse. So maybe just let this guy live his contract out and try again.
How many years does he have left?
1.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There's no point in.
Look, I think now that we're in the season, there's no point of firing him at all, unless it goes completely pear-shaped and you're losing to Benetton at home. I know they just lost to them away, but if you're losing to Benetton at home, then maybe you could start saying, I get it. All right, I get it. But you must also remember, if you look at a football team, they have the money to say, oh, your contract's still worth 10 million. I could easily pay you out for that. I personally don't think South African unions have, whether they're owned by billionaires or whatever, I don't necessarily they want to just go and say, here's 20 million to pay out the rest of your contract, if that makes sense. So I'm with Brett in that sense, but at the same time, something has to change. I just personally think he can't fail now. If I look at the team, he can't fail. It's not possible.
Guys, we're talking as if he didn't just win the bloody Challenge Cup. We're talking as if he didn't just win the Currie Cup. The Oaks brought 2 trophies to the Sharks, and he's
more
lost
than the
2
Bulls.
games.
True.
He's lost only 2 games in the URC. It's not the end of the world. The Oaks going to be fine when his Springbok players get back. The Sharks are going to cause havoc, and people are going to forget that John Plumtree is even the coach.
I doubt it. He had the same team last year and ended 13th, Brett.
He didn't have the, he
you know what I'm
saying?
He still had.
Etzebeth played 7 games last year. Oxenchair played 4 games last year. Sia Kolisi played 6 games last year. That's not enough.
Okay, but is he actively going to play them more games? Because they were still available. It's not like they were still there. You could have still picked them. This is not a debate, right? You know what I'm scared about? For the Sharks thing, even if they see out another year, if they have another shocking year, right? Even if the contract's done, let's say they don't sack him. What is the incentive for those Sharks players? Do they still want to represent the Sharks after 2 horrific seasons? Would they still want to be there? Would they still want to represent that jersey?
Yes, money. Yeah, exactly.
Well, why wouldn't they? If they get the same
I'm
amount
gonna be real.
They can just go abroad where they don't look shit at home. I'd rather do that. Same
There's
amount
no
of money.
place like home. Casual. There's no place like
home. Durban as home is bad.
To be fair,
if you can get paid the most to do the least amount of work, you take that job.
Yeah, if you're old, yeah.
But I personally don't. We're talking like they're going to fail. I don't think they are going to fail. I'll give them that. I do think they'll be somewhat successful this season. So yeah.
I hope they are, because obviously they are kind of like the biggest representation of the Springboks. So you want them to do well. I want them to do well. I don't think they'll do shit. I've predicted them to be top 4. And then I saw this Benetton performance, and I'm just like, well, if the Springboks ain't there, where do they go? They are nothing. They are nothing. Anyway, let's round off this episode. Just a little quick fire. What players, especially youngsters, let's focus on youngsters, have stood out for you guys? Let's not say that will be there at the end of the year or that you want to see, but as Springbok potential in the future. So, for instance, like Brett mentioned, Reinhard Jonker. The guy's been brilliant, 24 years old. Obviously, he's going up against tough competition with Andre Esterhuizen, Damian Dealende. Andre Pollard can play inside center. Lukani, we've seen that. So it's not likely that it goes there because we know Ethan Hooker is there as well. But like, what players have stood out for you guys that kind of has that potential? That's gone like, yeah. Brevan, do you know anyone?
I'm just gonna quick fire. Lions, Quan Horn, Kate Voliter.
Been brilliant, Quan Horn.
Yeah,
Wow.
Obviously Ed. He's been called up already before, but Edwall.
Yeah, but Edwall's 28. So
Okay, sorry. I'm just naming players quickly. Sorry. Obviously Cam Hanekom. Bulls. I'm liking the look of Cobus Visa so far. Maybe that's just because I'm Jasper's biggest fan, but they are brothers. But Cobus Visa, I'm liking his enforcer role. I do think he is an enforcer. He's got that attitude about him, which is good. Stormers. I don't think we've seen enough yet. No, but look, I don't know.
Ruben van Heerden. How old is Ruben van Heerden, Brett?
He's young. I think he's your age.
Oh, get in there. Okay, Ruben van Heerden.
Yeah, of course.
Only guy.
Huh?
I think.
Brett, have you spotted someone?
Just let him finish, and then I'll go.
Okay. Ethan Hooker. Yeah, I'm naming obvious names. Yeah. I don't think I've watched enough per se to other than the Bulls to fully commit. But yeah, those are the basic ones for me.
Brett?
For me, I'm also in agreement with Ethan Hooker. I'm starting to like Jordan Hendrikse, his physicality. I don't know what his position should be. I don't know if he should be playing fullback or fly off or inside center. But
he looked his best at 12. Remember, end of last season. Very good. Yeah. That's where you brought it up the first time, if I'm not mistaken, for the Lions when he switched there. Yeah. How much better he's looked,
Yeah, so him for me. And then guys that I really want to see is a Henko van Wyk.
Of course.
What's the new loose head prop of the Bulls? Short, stocky guy. Oh, I forget his name. He came on in the second half now, man.
Yes. Did he get the yellow?
Yes.
He did get the yellow. Okay, I'll find the name for you now. Carry on.
I think he's good. Stormers, I'm not going to give any credit because there's no credit due.
Ruben van Heerden.
Yeah. Besides Ruben van Heerden.
Brock Harris.
I do, however, want to mention... What? Go.
Sorry.
I want to mention that if anybody wants to donate 30,000 rand to our pod, we're trying to get players in here, but they cost money.
Yeah. You talk. I won't be able to pronounce this 100% accurately, but his name is Aluluto Sakweni. I think it's pronounced. But yeah, he's pretty good. I won't lie. I enjoyed the little bit we saw of him until he got that yellow.
And
Nico Stein.
Mchunu at the Sharks is playing well. He's offloads. Oh my goodness, the guy's got skill.
But he's always been like a backline player playing as a prop.
Yeah.
The guy's got gas as well.
Yes.
Nico Stein from the Lions. Like the Lions hate playing a 10 at 10. Like Nico Stein's played 9 and 10. Sanele Noamba has played 9 and 10. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Morne van den Berg play 9 and 10 as well. But yeah, Nico Stein at the Lions, like kind of the whole back line. Nico Stein, Kate Voliter has been brilliant. like really, really good. I would love to see him in a Springbok jersey. Like, if we have Sasha injured and they don't trust Mani or whatever, sneak in a little Kate Voliter there into the training squad, get him some experience there if you really want to. If he stays fit, I promise you this guy will be a Springbok. He reminds me of like a Andre Pollard, just plays the same way. Anyway, Enku van Wyk, as you mentioned, he's been looking great as well. Hopefully he can stay injury-free. JC Pretoria.
What's the 13's name of the Lions?
Enku van Wyk.
No, Henk van Wyk's been on the bench every game. Who's the guy that's starting?
Let me get it.
The line that guy runs. He's reminding me of a World Cup Jesse Creel. I keep forgetting his name.
I'll get it in a second.
Yeah, so
It is horrible that we forgot this.
Yes, I'm sorry, but we have to give him a mention.
Eric Cronje.
Yes.
Cronje.
Yes, he runs hard lines. Like he's a out and out outside center. Like he's not going to play anywhere else on the field.
Even Rabs Maxwane.
Your
Bro,
pace.
Wow, he's been good. With the Bulls, can you look past Cameron Hanekom? That guy needs to play end of the year. I said it
Quick
last.
one.
Yep.
Quick one. We have to wrap it up. This guy has class in.
Oh, I do have class in my smart.
Okay. Thank you everyone for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe. We have mentioned all the names. We have spoke about it all. Tell us what your expectations are for the rest of these teams. How do they fix it? How do they keep the momentum going? Anyway, bye-bye.